Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Fascistista pie-thumbing Victoria run here in Victoria 3, aptly named, where Victoria 3, we are only thumbing pies. We're not declaring any offensive wars, not against subjects, and instead we're just joining wars against other people. Like, for example, we joined, well, this is joining on the side of the East India Company to make another person our subject. For example, last episode, we finally was freed from the absolute hell of, you know, our very first tech clique being political agitation, and so we were doing tremendously inefficient things in order to try and get this as fast as possible to go fascism. And so we have finally unlocked the ability, after low rolling and never nat spreading it, water tube boiler, which is, for those of you who don't know, one of the most important texts in the game. Also, Karl Marx was an awkward boy when he tried to assassinate the Queen. That also happened last episode. We try not to talk about it, we try not to bring it up at family dinners, but, you know, it is awkward. He did try and kill the Queen. There's no getting around it. He tried to kill her, but this episode, we're gonna pop off, I think. You know, where GDP overall has been relatively stagnant, but that's because, you know, we haven't been researching any useful tech at any point in time. So, now I think we get to pop off, and what better way to pop off than with water tube boilers, and we are soon gonna have 2 new companies that we can slot in, that I think we will slot in. I don't know if we want to give up our construction efficiency bonus, but I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna slot in the railroad company here, and the Carnegie Metal company here. And so that'll be super big nice. We give up the tool ones, but not too big a deal. Man, I'm so excited for water tube boiler. I've never been more excited for water tube boiler. This is literally the latest water tube boiler tech research I think I've ever gotten, even playing as Sokoto. So pretty miserable. We have like way overbuilt the unis in order to try and leverage tech spread, which you wouldn't normally do. This many unis as, you know, what is it, as the UK, but that's the current situation, and so we are going to try and also roll through, and we'll just kind of demonstrate right now what we're doing. Now that we can roll fascists, right, now that it is possible, what we are going to do is we are going to recruit a lot of boys, and we are going to see what's up, and by that I mean we are going to kind of churn through a lot of generals in order to reveal ones underneath, because you flip a card, and you see here, for example, this guy's an ethno-nationalist. He likes ethno-state. In order to proc the event, we might need to have someone like him in government, and that's all we need to proc the event. So let's take a look. Is it going to be a revealed one, or is it a hidden one? It might be a hidden journal entry. We don't have path to liberalism. We need the path to fascism. But that's the kind of boyo we need. So I think we can pin him to the outliner. Because we might be coming back to this guy. Oh my god, we lost our man. We lost our man. This is terrible. This is terrible. We lost our ethno-nationalist. Nope, we didn't lose him. So we're gonna pin this guy just to make sure that we're kind of more aware of him, and we are gonna continue recruiting through, and we see petite bourgeoisie, ethno-nationalist. So we're going to also pin this gentleman here, and we will be able to promote these guys, hopefully, or, you know, fire in a way that makes sense. We're also going to promote this guy all the way, because we want the petite bourgeoisie in general to be getting a little bit more power. Reformer, protectionist, we don't really like either of those. I guess Social Democrat's fine enough, and now we're out of slots, so we'll just go down the line, and we're just looking for more of these guys that we can maybe put in, specifically looking for fascists, because I know the fascists really ought to do it. We actually can't promote them to government, but what we can do is we can exile, as long as, you know, our guy is popular. If we exile this guy, this jingoist, then we can roll the other guy in. And, you know, I don't think the other guy was popular, though. But we can check, because we put a pin in him. Engineer is an interesting one, because it gives you +5 construction. If you're playing a really small nation, in theory, you actually do want to re-roll for an engineer. Not really relevant for us at this point in the game, though. Or as, you know, the UK in general. Ethno-nationalist. And very popular, so this is going to be, we get a charismatic ethno-nationalist, so that's going to be perfect for us. We're actually going to hit him with a little bit of a couple promotes. We don't care about the clout, but I think it does positively affect things. We see protectionist, jingoist, reformer. We're going to take the protectionist, and I think we're going to do one more round of looking for guys. So we see here, we'll take the protectionist, this guy. Right now, there's so much clout already on the industrialist that we don't mind. Oh, okay, we get a trade unionist option, a nihilist. This seems fine. We also kind of do want to improve the clout of these guys, so we'll just promote him up all the way. And then we'll take a look at the fleet and see what we can do in terms of, you know, trying to find some guys here. Authoritarian, sure, we love those. We take those. And now we are rolling, yeah. What we would really like is an industrialist, ethno-nationalist, but we also have so many industrialist generals already that it would be very hard for us to targeted exile for the purposes of getting a new one. And I don't think that they can roll ethno-nationalist anyways. Market liberal is fine. Have we really gone through that many? We see this guy's a reformer, and he also is a trade unionist, so we're actually going to promote him up all the way, because we do try and want to try and increase their clout, and I think that's maybe, I mean, we can recruit on this empty navy, but I think we're going to leave it there. We did have we hipped a few ethno-nationalists, namely this guy who's not popular at all, and this guy. I think there was another gentleman who was popular, but we didn't put a pin in him. Oh, shame. But I believe he was armed forces guy, and so we kind of are setting the stage a little bit for getting into fascism. I'm not sure we want to execute this immediately. There might be strategic reasons for not doing this. We might have to abandon the Freud idea and instead try and... I would really love to convert Marx to fascism, if possible. This would really, really be delightful. So we'll see what we can do, though. Maybe we exile. The problem is we have so many armed forces guys, and we cannot afford to just exile all of them, like armed forces nihilist, armed forces Republican. And while that guy we found was 50 clout, you know, Republican, I don't think it's necessarily, you know, the case that it's going to work out for this. You see communist, he's pretty well liked. You know, I don't think we're going to be able to exile necessarily. I remember he would have a strapping amount of facial hair, right? Was it this guy? The ethno-nationalist? No, it was not that guy. But he did... Oh, this is the guy. Yeah, baby. So this guy's well-liked. But if there's someone with, like, 60 popularity, they are likely going to be the ones that get in charge instead. We're going to make this guy a couple promotions, though. Yeah, he's in the 13th British Army. We'll put a pin in him, and we will watch his career closely. With Mexico joining the customs union, it does just about look like America's about to be swallowed whole, wherein we can tax them, of course, with zero representation. Just brings a tear to your eye. We finally have the British Union of Fascists. Of course, this guy's not a fascist, so there's that problem. But you know, we could put them in government at any point in time, but we are going to try and get through this law first. Now, we do see we're at unacceptable 45, and so we will lower taxes another notch. That way we can be up into not having this minus 50% enactment time, and we have a decent chance on this graduated taxation, so we're going to look to push this through before we do anything else. And, you know, researching water tube boiler is amongst those things, and we get a nice roll. Big nice. Also, as soon as we finish these next two coal mines, we will be updating our companies, and so, you know, it's just going to be a little bit of a tick, and we'll be right there with the company update. Okay, so we don't have enough steel mills in Pennsylvania yet to swap on to getting Carnegie Steel instead, but we should be able to disband these boys and instead put in the Kaiping Mining Company, which I think it will be better. We need Steam Donkey. Damn. Okay, so I guess we won't slot these guys out yet, but this will replace, you know, our tools company. I think it'll be quite a bit better, and I guess we'll go for Steam Donkey next after this instead, and so that'll feel pretty good getting Steam Donkey as well after water tube boiler. So I think we're actually going to grant leadership here to Charles Dickens, to the petite bourgeoisie, because he is well loved. He does have this plus 50 popularity, and that should make it easier for them to maintain a lot of clout. But I also think from the Jingoist, we're getting one single strongly endorsed from colonial exploitation, and from Dickens, who is a reformer, we will be getting an endorsed from compulsory primary school and property to women, and then we will be losing one to national supremacy. So it looks like, you know, it's going to be a slight negative in terms of the approval, but we're also going to be trying to free up a slot. So we're going to, we actually have to reform, but we have a free government reform. So we're going to do this, and then we are going to grant Dickens the thing, grant leadership, and then we are going to reform government and pull him back out, because we do need these guys in. Actually, could we... barely makes a difference. We'll just keep them in for now, all 3 of them, and so that'll be good enough for us, and then we will, well, I mean, we'll get more negative events rolls, but this will also free up an agitator slot, because I think we can only get events that will make, like, fascist agitators, of which there are some in the UK, like Mosley. This will make it hopefully the case. These guys are a little late to that party. Yeah, they were very late to that party. So we will have to do a naval landing. And hopefully free them up. We'll see if they can get there in time. This might just be a little bit of a scuffed kind of situation here. But we'll see how this plays out. Something like this. But the idea is now I think we can roll these guys through events. And I think you can only roll these, like, historical event guys, like, for example, John Mill or Charles Dickens, if you have an available slot. So we just wanted to free that up just in case it will allow us to roll a fascist in a more targeted... Hey, we got it. We got it. We got it. Oh, I'm so happy. We have so much eco. We have more eco that we're about to flip over than I've ever had getting water tube boiler. We have like 300 mines. I think we have over... Yeah, we have over 300 mines, and we're about to flip them all on to condensing pump engine. That should have been nitroglycerin forever ago. Even, you know what, let's have a little bit of celebration. You're gonna get the nice mines tonight. Lancashire, or sorry, Leinster, who we had, of course, turned down to the bad ones. You know, everybody gets the good mines, even the Irish, and so this is gonna be fantastic for us in terms of the eco come up. Like, we're at 114. Were we at 114 before? But this will just, like, pop us right up. I said it'll pop us right up. Yeah, you see that little vertical? You see that go straight up? I'm not saying our line is excited. I'm just saying it's erect, okay? It is going right up. And so we will also, you know, we are out of, like, labor here, right? And we've been out of labor for so long. And we can finally turn on a bunch of good PMs. Oh, this is so fantastic. We're going to do it here as well, although it's less of a labor problem here. Specifically, we're going to take a look at Midlands. Midlands is doing okay, right? Yeah, they're doing fine enough. And then also, the steel mills in particular, we do want actually all of these on water tube boiler, even if they're not profitable, because we care about, as we've mentioned before, the bonus that we are getting, you know, from the bonus... Sorry, the bonus that we're getting from the company is contingent on them being productive, even if it's not profitable. So we'll do that in order to kind of try and shoot up productivity a little bit. They must have already adjusted, or it just needs to wait a week. The productivity went down. Terrible. Terrible. You hate to see it. But we should be in a really good... yeah, look at this. Look at this come up. We're, like, making way more money now. Like, in terms of our weekly balance. Not that you necessarily want, like, a positive weekly balance, but, like, this is going to, you know, is it going to continue, or is it just going to flatten out? But this is a very, very, very significant bump. So big fun on that tech. And then we have Steam Donkey coming in so we can switch to the Kaiping Mining Company as well. I always like watching the bump when you hit graduated taxation that occurs immediately following, you know, in regards to the income. Usually it takes 2 weeks to get the full adjustment. We get a landing and then a freaking slough off. The guys can't get to the fronts fast enough, which is just, like, really awkward when they're landing in. We have this separatist movement here, which is our problem in Hanover. And so we're just going to try and get them in here. And also here. I think we'll have access to our 65 stack. Yeah, we will. But it looks like this might be a little bit sticky, and we're not making as much money with the swap as we usually do. But overall, it also taxes your pops in a more preferable way, and it will eat into the clout of the Pelit party to the benefit of, you know, everyone else. And I think now might be time to do single party. Who will it make mad? The Industrialists and the Intelligentsia will get mad about that. I mean, there's a few other things we could go for. We could go for public health insurance, the Industrialists don't like that very much. This, the trade unions don't like. It's kind of hard to keep everyone happy, which is, you know, the problem of politics. But we can go for... I mean, we haven't seen a single anarchist, to be honest, which is kind of a type of agitator you generally often want to look for. We're just going to cruise through these agitators. Yeah, there's really not a lot of options because we're not as culturally accepting. I mean, we could do cultural exclusion, which I think makes it more likely for us to spawn, you know, someone of the particular type, and Charles Dickens likes this, so we will unlock, like, the bonus on their petite bourgeoisie, and our other guys like it. I think that this kind of looks pretty good. We can't do outlawed dissent. We don't have an exile available because we used it trying to roll on this guy to something better, and that didn't work out for us. We tried to harden the cards, the ethno-nationalist, and we couldn't. And so... And also, if we are passing something specifically for the fascists, which is kind of funny that we would be passing this for the fascists, this will also unlock a bunch of, we can invite a bunch of different agitators. I think we're going to go for this with the idea that we are maybe going to have to come off of it almost immediately, which is kind of funny. And I think we are going to try and do the fascist event chain and then go multiculturalism. So this is going to involve several swaps, but we get to reform our government here to be much, much more legitimate, and we get to run up the taxes back up high again. And this is under, you know, the other thing. And then we have like all this, so we're going to get to bolster, you know, and suppress as we want. I think we're going to bolster the Intelligentsia. We don't want them to dip too much lower. And then we could suppress the armed forces if we had just a little bit more juice, which we will acquire. And the idea is not that necessarily that we hate the armed forces, but this will improve the clout of everyone else that is kind of eligible for this. And these guys are all just super marginalized. And so this should help out a little bit. And now, just look at that. Look at the money. We're like getting a ton of it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to add a bunch of construction sectors, specifically in Pennsylvania, because we did add a bunch of iron or steel and iron there. And so Pennsylvania is going to become a really good place for us to build. And so we'll just add the construction sectors there, knowing what's about to happen, which is also going to include a company swap. So it looks like we get a bit of an event for a Mexican voice to lead the cultural exclusion charge. This guy might be summarily ejected when we eventually go ethno-state, which I think we're going to end up doing. But we're going to say equality starts here. And nope, this Mexican's just a royalist. Interesting. Why is... alright then. Well... Huh. We just roll a guy who doesn't like the thing, who's ostensibly supposed to like the thing. I really don't know how I feel about that. That seems like a really stupid event. They showed us, I guess. Lamau got him. Now they don't support cultural exclusion. Alright, you win. You got us. Alright, so we're actually going to need to swap sides to put down this rebellion, because every time we land, we get in, and then they push us out before our guy can manage to actually establish on the front. And since Hanover is not their capital, it is literally impossible for us to enforce, despite, you know, overwhelming military advantage here. And so we will just be swapping sides in order to make them capitulate here. It is time for us to swap over the companies, though, because we have everything we need, so we will disband these two, and we will put in the Kaiping Mining Company, and instead of Balkow, Vaughan & Co., we will be putting in this Carnegie Steel Company, which will be a little bit of an upgrade. It is a slight upgrade. I mean, both companies are outstanding. Wait, why can't we put in the Carnegie? Where is the Carnegie Steel Co.? You mean to tell me there's an additional requirement? Well, we'll see what that is here. So, Carnegie, what do we need? We need open hearth process. Okay, you got us. Lamau, got him. We made him swap the things. Alright, we'll reestablish these guys. But this will be our company setup, at least for a while, where we are getting the 10% state construction efficiency. And now, instead of getting the tooling workshops, we're going to be getting tech spread. well, I'm not sure if we can make them productive enough, but we can actually export coal in order to make this effort, as well as look where we have, you know, all of our PMs, or where we have a lot of railroads, and turn on PMs there in order to try and push productivity. They're going to naturally be a little bit more productive because they have rail throughput, and so we might be able to push them up, but it will be a little bit tedious. So like, we'll need to come in here and be like, okay, well, we know we have like all these mines, are they all on railroads, and this sort of thing. Like, so for example, swapping these onto rail transportation becomes important. You know, getting PMs for the rails is going to be important, and just making sure that we also this is nice because it frees up labor, but we will need to just kind of come in and just take a look based on how many railroads are in places, and try and find the best, or we also want all on wooden passenger carriages, but just make sure that just kind of hunt down these ones that aren't very productive and try and make them productive instead. Oh, my poor sweet prince. The United States of America is back at it again. Now, we can ask for just transfer state, or we can ask for become subject. I'm kind of keen on just keeping to transferring some of these states, I think. You know, and because I think it might be a little bit harder to transfer, and we will automatically be on, you know, Mexico's side if... and so I don't think we'll be able to sway onto their side if the U.S. declares war on them. And so we want to continue to get these opportunities to pick up free states. So I think we're going to take Jalisco here, which is like the most populous non-capital state, and is also pretty solid. And then we're going to need to move an army over there. And the problem is, well, our armies are a little tied up. This one's tied up with Russia, and so we have something defending Japan, and I think we're just going to let Japan, we're going to leave Japan to their own devices here a little bit, and instead, you know, take an unpause and move some stacks over. We might have to move this, you know, stack, this... I guess we don't really care what happens with this Japan affairs, because we don't really care if Georgia gets liberated all that much. But it would be nice. So we'll actually move this 30 stack over as well, with the idea that we are going to be adding reinforcements on top of this. The USA also will have, you know, enough maneuvers here to put something in on us, but I think they're also fairly likely to just, you know, back down at this point, because they have been obviously very severely weakened, and so... you know, maybe we should have even done something to take from them. Let's see, is this the Republican guy? Yeah. We are more than happy with him settling down, and this frees up a slot for us. We'll just double check, see if we can get anything that kind of tickles our fancy. We cannot. And continue here. Now we hit steel frame buildings. This is going to be so nice. Also, we can build the Statue of Liberty. So let's not forget that we can build the Statue of Liberty and put that in ASAP here. Because we do, of course, have New York, the proper British territory. And we will be turning on the steel frame buildings in a couple spots. Just 2 spots, or actually maybe 3. Here, Lancashire, and also I think we're going to turn them on in Pennsylvania, which is actually a spectacular state for Mappy. But those 2 states actually are really going to benefit from the fact that they can make glass pretty profitably, because they do have lead. You see lead, and so we're going to make sure these glass works are on auto expand as well, because our glass supply will get crimped a little, and this is the one that has the manufacturing, and so we'll put in a couple of these, and that should really pop off on construction. You know, we started this episode with way less construction than this, I feel like. We'll have to go back and double check, but like, we are really coming up. Now, of course, we swap sides in awards, so it bricks our graph, so you can't really see it. But this is going to be very good for us. The US is, of course, getting absolutely stomped with shadow fronts. I think this is just units are still moving to the next front over. Or this guy's stuck on 0 days. We maybe give him some help? Or what? The National Guard is, of course, stationed at home, but we will return these guys, and we'll try and make sure this keeps going swimmingly. You know, Russia is not having any of this. And this was just a pure pie thumbing. Really nothing for us here. We're just liberating Georgia and the loud car outside. And so, you know, eventually we could liberate something useful like Perm, but Georgia's just going to sit there doing Georgian things, you know? Okay, so we see something very interesting here in Hebei, which is that somehow we have managed to get some Scots over here. You know, not a lot, and some English, but the really important thing here is we have now a non-zero amount of Protestants here, and of course the Jews that start there at the start of the game for whatever reason. Given that this is the state of affairs, you know, if we can cede both of our Chinese provinces, you know, with Protestants, it would perhaps be reasonable to go back to being a state religion. Now, of course, that would be difficult, but it would be something to maybe consider. I didn't think we would be able to, you know, ever really seed in here these people, but I guess they're moving here because there's jobs available for capitalists, something like this maybe. But this was a bit interesting. We managed to get some Protestants here. There is some level of migration attraction from, you know, Intelligentsia, available employment, standard of living, like these types of things, because we have built a little bit here, you know, in order to get things going. And especially with the universities having a high wage multiplier, this might be a big driver of this. We're 51ing this uni and 51ing the other uni as well, because we are going for shift work now to kind of round off the pop-off that is really happening this episode on the back of actually having reasonable and good technologies that we are researching, you know, in the form of water tube boiler, mechanized workshops, shift work, these types of things. Alright, we see that we can pull Great Qing into the customs union by giving them an obligation, and Great Qing is just about the only person we're okay with them using an obligation in order to, you know, mess with us, force us into a defensive pact and alliance, this sort of thing. And so now Great Qing is in the customs union, and now multiculturalism really looks insanely good for us, you know, kind of moving forward. The problem is we're going to need to go ethno-state first. So, you know, in order to pop the event, I think, or to complete the event chain for us. So the plan now is going to be going, did we randomly get unassigned? It looks like we randomly got unassigned. Man, I hate that so much. There's like a lot of like, yeah, so this guy like left here after getting in here, and so it looks like we're going to get pushed out pretty promptly here. And we do, and so now we're not enforcing on Russia here, except Russia's probably fairly likely to, well, they're actually incredibly unlikely to capitulate. I lied. So let's see if we can land these guys. Nope, they got to be out of the Baltic Sea before they can land in the Baltic Sea. So we'll just move them to a different sea node, and then now they're not in the Baltic Sea, and then we can land and, you know, continue trying to enforce them down with our 65 stack. So, yeah. But with China in the customs union, that's going to make a huge, huge, huge difference in terms of where we're going and like what looks good. It looks like Japan has been able to resist getting landed without us, though. So Japan's definitely not getting enforced on. But hopefully we can still get our war goal of liberating Georgia, because, you know, the Russians wouldn't like that if they were a human player, and we're trying to frustrate the AI as much as we've been frustrated by Mummy and her pie thumbing. Viewing the Communist Party as a major threat to the British nation, British Union of Fascists have encouraged supporters of the British Union of Fascists to organize into groups and attack the suspected communists in the streets. Oh no, the grand plans of alliance are all falling they're falling away. So we're going to choose this option. The other two, one can kill or can exile Karl Marx or even kill him, so that's not an option. The other one will, you know, get violent rhetoric rejected. We don't necessarily hate this guy getting less popular. Actually, this one maybe is reasonable. But we don't want the fascists to lose momentum, especially as we're about to pass cultural exclusion. We don't know how far they're going to fall as a result of doing this. And so we're just going to, you know, kind of cruise with this, as it were, right now. But you know, the industrialists are also decreasing in clout. We see we almost have a perfect balance of 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. I mean, reasonably close. And this is kind of the goal of these unholy alliance, which is, you know, tenuous at best. God, the gifts that keep on giving. We're probably going to go for... What do we want from the Netherlands here? Is this, what is this, Windward Coast? Windward Coast seems to be the best. Will you give it up for us? Yes, you will. They already gave up Guyana, which of course, more than happy to take gold mines off their hands. As we try and finish enforcing here on Russia by relanding, because we did get this. Alright, so here's the big question. Will their clout get annihilated? And I don't know the answer to this question. Their clout has been... You know, well, you guys can't see that one. But their clout spin will just get annihilated. We see it going down at the very least. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. False democracy says who? Minus 10% legitimacy. Will O'Brien has issued blah 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 blah. I don't think we want the P-Elite party necessarily gaining momentum, but that one maybe is the best. But here's the thing now. We could go single party, reasonably speaking. You know, the trade unions do support it. And I think single party is quite good. But the question is can we form legitimate governments after going single party? So let's actually just take a look at monarchy versus single party. So we see 20 legitimacy from including head of state and government, which we're also getting that from the Forbidden City. Here we'll get legitimacy based on votes, +1 government size allowance, minus 10% government ideology penalty, which will be very severe because we'll try and have trade unions and capitalists. And the thing is it will be around the P-Elite party, not around the Communist Party. If we were to try and do that. Also, you know, trying to pass this would be big uncomfortable because this guy's market liberal and this guy's a communist. We could exile this guy, and we could also shop around for agitators. Actually, we now have way more agitators we can invite because we're not discriminating as heavily, so I guess we should shop around for agitators first. Just kind of looking for someone who could pass multiculturalism or fascism. One of the two. You know, kind of one direction or the other. Tickles our fancy, as it were. And we don't see anything interesting. And I'm not sure I like this idea that we could go for this. We do want to... These guys would be part of the P-Elite party, right? So we might be able to... What happens if they all are in? No, this kind of falls apart. I don't know if these guys merge as a singular party when the single party state is formed as well. But ideally we would want this to be the end goal of our single party state, which is probably not going to be very legitimate. But we really want to get these guys clout high. We'll have to have a little bit of a think here regarding what law we try and pass now, but it will probably be one that the petite bourgeoisie actually just like, because they're not very happy with us right now. So we'll take a look around at some of those. So we had an election and a bit of thoughts, and we noticed some things. So first of all, we actually have an ethno-nationalist in the head of a party, but it's the rural folk. So we might actually be trying to bring the rural folk back up, because if we slot them into the government, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this will allow them to immediately start the ethno-nationalist event chain. Of course, we got to let them cool down a little bit because they're pretty mad about the cultural exclusion pass. So that's kind of the thing. And we are about to enforce here on Russia for the release of Georgia. You know, the capital's very obviously occupied, and they will be liberating Georgia here. Big nice. I think we are going to conclude the episode here. We started the episode with like 106 million GDP, and we had just been like slowly like up, but now we've come up like around 36 million GDP. Of course, our graph is broken, but that is a big nice for us. You know, in this episode's largely been about, you know, just actually getting decent tech. I think we're going to, you know, re-embrace the strategy of researching horrible tech again, to try and see if we can do psychoanalysis next episode and see if we can roll Freud. I don't know if you need to regionally be involved in there. I do believe you need to be the first one to research psychoanalysis. And so we will research psychoanalysis ahead of time, which is incredibly inefficient, but we will have at the very least, you know, gotten some reasonable production tech, kind of rounding it out with shift work here, which is going to be super nice. And also, we have a new kind of trio of companies here. We would love to go for the fourth one, but we don't have time in terms of we want to get Freud, or see if we can get Freud. And so I think also we can get him because we don't discriminate against the Germans. I think if we discriminate the Germans, we can't roll Freud. We just roll a different version. And we want Freud, so this is going to be what we try and do. We see state construction efficiency bonus. This is why we have the steel one. This one is new, and this one we are going to swap out for the... Oh, no, wait, we can't swap out. I forgot. Open Hearth process, once we research this, we will do the Carnegie one, which will be a little bit better because it's going to give railway throughput instead of this military shipyards building throughput. So I think it is either the best or the second best of this, you know, steel, coal, iron sort of situation. But the Kaiping Mining Company giving us, you know, extra infrastructure effectively is really nice, and extra tech spread is really, really nice given our current situation with this absolutely psychotic strategy of, you know, going for terrible tech, which is not paying off at all. And so, but we have a lot of unspent innovation that's now overflowing. We have 251 universities, and so as soon as we pip shift work, the, you know, the university that's 51 over here, and the university that's 51 over here will be really, really, really nice. And we overbuilt on universities, you know, in terms of like what we're doing, and so. Because of what we're doing, we overbuilt universities, which is part of why our economic growth is slowed, although it's mainly because, you know, we didn't research water tube boiler first. Instead, we got it, you know, in 1860, 24 years into the game. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And other than that, have a good day.